Welcome to They Tried to Bury Us. My name is Tamer Kattan. I'll be your host. I'm a comedian, a writer, and an actor. I was born in Egypt and moved to America when I was just a kid, so I'm very proud of being an immigrant. And ever since I started doing comedy, I've met more and more immigrants, and I have found more and more amazing stories, and that's what this podcast is all about. Each week, I'm going to have a new guest. They're going to sit down and share with us their American origin stories, and we're going to get to know each other better, and we're going to find out that we're all just the same. So tune in each week, tell every single person you know, and thanks for listening. Hi guys, welcome back to They Tried to Bury Us. Hey Kity, how was your week?
Very good.
No racism?
No.
Oh,
Very
that makes
good.
me so happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
That makes me so happy.
You have to understand that people still love me.
That's no, of course, but it's good to check in. It's like the weather. Racism is now like the weather.
Yeah, some people say, "Wow, what is your accent from?" But in a nice way.
Yeah, you could tell.
I always say I'm spicy. Don't ask me. Sweet and spicy, so they love it. So if you ask me nicely, I tell you where I am from. If you ask me very rude, I'm not gonna tell you damn thing.
Good, I like that. Hey, you know what? Your temper reminded me of something. Is that we're gonna have a new segment on the show starting next episode where I'm going to bring in mean comments that people have written to me. And instead of me reading them and responding, I want you to respond to them.
Oh my God, I'm your mom.
I know,
I'm going to protect you very well.
My mom will beat you up.
But I'm sorry, I will have bad mouths here.
That's okay.
So
we like bad
okay.
mouths.
All right, respect for no one doesn't respect you. Okay.
That's right. If they don't respect you, you don't respect them.
Yeah, watch out.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Keith. I love you being my co-host. And I'm really excited about this week's episode. Servet Fidan.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how are you, bro?
I'm good.
Servet is a friend of mine, Keith, that I met through my friend Mark Golden. Mark and I have known each other since elementary school. And then one time he told me, he's like, hey, you got to go see my buddy Servet's band play. And you blew me away, dude.
Oh, thanks,
you were
bro.
So good. Like,
that's awesome. Thank you.
Incredibly good, talented musician, incredibly great singer. I love your music. And I love your cars too. You got a bunch of classic cars. You were like the coolest dude.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to hear that.
And you know what's so interesting about you, dude? When you look at Servet, you're like, this guy's so American.
Thank you, man.
You've got a muscle car. You've got tattoos.
Yep.
You've got Johnny Cash-esque hair.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you're a great musician.
And Jim Morrison
and you got
on the
Jim
arm.
Morrison tattooed on your arm.
The American singer, definitely.
Absolutely. It's so funny because you, to me, are like the classic, almost like a Marlboro ad if it wasn't about cigarettes.
Awesome,
you know what I mean?
man.
You
Yeah.
couldn't be more American.
I like
but you're
that.
of Albanian heritage.
Yes.
And your family immigrated here from Turkey.
Yes, yes.
From Istanbul. Right?
Yeah, like some town out of Istanbul. I don't know exactly which one it was, but we could say Istanbul. I think they were close to that.
All right, cool. So your story really blew me away. I think it's analogous to a lot of things that happened for people. I remember seeing a documentary on Netflix called E Pluribus Unum that just came out about immigrants in America. And one of the people they talked about is that some people were given residency if they agreed to clean the buildings after 9/11 happened.
Oh, wow.
And there was a lot of people that came and did the work in order to get residency, in order to get permanent residency, and they did it, but they got sick. And it reminds you like the crazy limits people are willing to go to move to this country.
Yeah.
So and your story reminded me of that. So let's start from the beginning though. So tell me about your family. What was life like? Did you hear about them growing up in Turkey? Because you grew up in Chicago.
Yeah. I was born here. My mom and dad came here, and like 2 months later, my brother was born. So 1969. But,
oh, wow. So they came when your mom was pregnant.
Yeah. She was pregnant. And my dad's sister, my aunt, which we call Hala, Hala. And she's known famously as Lochka Halas. She calls us that. Lochka Halas, like a love of your aunt or something.
Is that Turkish or Albanian?
I think it's a mix. They mix stuff up.
That's great.
I don't understand Turkish. They'll talk it to me. I'm like, I don't know. And then when they talk Albanian to me, I'm like, Jim Morrison on the air. I've been Americanized. But my aunt was already out here, my dad's older sister, and then he's like, come out. She's like, come out to America. You'll love it. So they applied for visas and went through the whole thing to make sure they get it first, you know. And then, then they came out here in like 1969, and I don't remember.
Oh, what a wild year to come out.
Yeah, I know. You know, they weren't hippies, unfortunately. I had to learn all my music stuff on my own.
Did they come to LA first? Or?
No, we Chicago.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we were a lot of our relatives are in Chicago, some of my other ones too. But their lives out in Turkey were I know they were poor, but I can't remember any really like struggles too much. I mean, I know when we visited them, I was a little kid when we first went out there. My grandma had a toilet that was just a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that shit? You know, that's where you shit.
Yeah. It's weird.
like,
it's kind of culture shock.
Yeah.
When you go back to visit your own country and you've been raised here.
Yeah.
It's like culture shock. You're like, whoa, this is different.
This is how my mom was raised. And my mom has she has like 6 brothers and sisters or something. Like, I just remember the picture. They're all curled up. But yeah, that their part out in Turkey, I don't remember too many crazy stories. I tried to get some information before I got here, but I couldn't. But then, you know, when they came to America, then I kind of remember it from that
Sure.
point on. Yeah.
Well, you know what I would say is even if you're in America, once you close the door to a house and your parents are immigrants, you're in that country.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So what was life like in the house? It was you had a brother first, was born first here?
Yeah. My brother's 15 months older than me. So he was born like 2 months after they got, you know, once they landed in Chicago. And it was pretty cool right off the cuff because like my aunt helped my dad get a house like right away. It was really cool. I remember my dad telling us as kids, he's like, we are going to own the house we move into. You know, he was all proud of that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And right when he got there, he like right away, he started working as like a dishwasher guy.
He was a dishwasher and already talking about owning a house.
Yeah. He was just ready to do it. And then everything was going cool. My aunt's side of the family was really good to us because they were already established here for, I think, a couple years. My aunt had 2 little daughters. One of them, another tragic part of the story, which I'll get to, but they were already kind of established. So they kind of helped my dad kind of get established. And at that time, I remember as a little kid, everything was awesome because like everything was good. The kids, my dad came in and everybody was like, you know, they're working, they're in America and everybody's healthy and good. And then he got this offer like, hey man, I got this killer job. I remember him bragging to my mom about it, working at this chemical factory. And it's actually, the company was called like Nalco Chemical Company. So he worked there for like a couple years and that's when everything started to take a turn. You know, as I was telling you in the email I sent you, that's when my dad got sick. He got leukemia and he was really young.
Wow.
He was, there's no,
And there wasn't family history?
no, there's not even like, I mean, I'm jumping to my dad's story. I knew I was gonna do this. So let me back up a little bit. Okay. So my aunt's side of the family, Hala's family, she had a daughter, Drita, and her daughter, Zelly. Drita was the first of the family to get sick. She was a kid, only 13, and she got leukemia.
Did she work at the chemical company too?
No, she's just a kid.
Okay.
You know, it's like a, you know, I think leukemia, I started to learn a lot about leukemia after my dad got it, but I think it hits kids. So
Wow.
I guess, you know, it sucked. She was like my best friend too, because I was younger than her.
Yeah.
And because we were still little kids, I was hanging out with her all the time.
Sure.
So even when she got sick, like what the foreign families do, they keep everybody away from each other. Oh, I'm like, what's wrong with Drita? You know, why is she losing her hair? Yeah, I'm a kid. Was like 8. I don't know what's going on. And oh, yeah, she's okay. She's okay. And they always kept us away from each other. So that part of it was kind of, you know, she was like my best friend, cousin, and then as she got sick, it was like, we got to separate the kids now, so you don't have to see.
Did they know why? Did they suspect like leukemia? No one had leukemia in the family.
No,
and all of a sudden, this very young child gets it. Did they have any suspicions?
No, you know what it was is like a foreign family thing. They thought the family was cursed.
Oh my gosh.
My Drita's dad. I jumped back again, but Drita's dad actually got sick first, and he had stomach cancer, which was weird. I don't know how that came about. It might have been, I know he smoked cigarettes. A lot of the foreigners smoke like, you know,
sure,
full tobacco, no filter, like, let's put it in. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it was, but then his daughter, he died, and then the daughter got sick. So the person that was, I always look at still to this day as like such a tough ass immigrant that went through so much shit is my aunt and then my mom. Because my aunt lost her daughter and her husband. And and she's still alive. She's 82 years old. And she takes care of a 105-year-old lady or a 100-year-old lady every day.
Oh my God! Wow.
She's like
energy.
Yeah, she's
still a caretaker.
Yeah, she's a caretaker.
Yeah,
I can't do the word, but she still does it. It's amazing, and that shit she went through. And then her daughter Zelly is still alive. We're really close. And Zelly had 2 kids. Sorry, the tapper in me. It's the drummer in me. I'm not a drummer. But
Servet's tapping his me like he's drumming.
I'm thinking of a song I'm going to be working on.
Like we're on a podcast, you immigrant.
Oh man, that's
But
funny.
wait, because I want to follow this story.
Okay.
So your aunt's daughter gets cancer. Her dad got stomach cancer before her.
Yeah.
And at this point, there are no suspicions as to where the cancer came from.
No.
They're just like, our family's cursed.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to the head's like, something's up. And that's like it wasn't like something that went across the whole family, but just that little kind of mention, like what's going on. And I think I remember my mom mentioning something about one of your great uncles. He was a very bad man. He did really bad stuff and we're going to pay for it. I go, what did he do? He's like, he killed some animals. I go, animals?
See, it's just people trying to make sense of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's like the source of so much superstition and even religion in a lot of cases is people experience this pain. They don't know how to deal with it and they have to have an answer.
Yeah, that's true, man. That makes a lot of sense because even so as a little kid, then after my cousin gets sick, then flashback 2 years, or not flashback, flash forward 2 years, and now my dad's sick. It's like,
wow,
what? And right before he got sick, a week before, I'm pretty sure my sister told me this. My mom was pregnant with my sister. They found out that, I'm pregnant, and my dad was like, well, maybe you should get an abortion because maybe the kid's going to be sick. So the doctors were telling him the kid won't get what you have because they did not understand why does this 38-year-old guy have leukemia. And to this day, Tamer, I think 100% it was because of that motherfucking Nalco chemical company he worked at. Because it was 1978. He worked in like a factory. So there's asbestos and all that shit flying around. And maybe the company didn't know, maybe they did. My mom said, and I don't know how valid my mom's information is. She likes to make up stuff because, she's got the accent. Hey, I don't know. I remember this. That's how she talks all the time. But she's like, a few people there died of or got sick with heart problems from working at that place. And they just always thought, she said, every time your dad came home at night, he wore a jumpsuit because he worked in the factory. And she goes, I would just clean it off and all this dust would just fly off it. All this dust.
All the stuff that he's inhaling.
That's what so we always thought that's what it was from. So I always, and I didn't know it was a little kid, but then as I started growing older.
But he took it because he's like, this job's a lot more money.
Yeah, of course. That's the reason. I mean, and when he was working at the restaurant, cleaning dishes, he probably was happier because he was here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here. We're going to get a house. My sister's got a place. She's got 2 daughters. I got 2 boys who are maniacs, but I love them. Because we drove him nuts. I remember, man, he would be like, Servet, Ali, shut up. And all his languages. I mean, we were scared of him. If he yelled, we were like,
sure, of course.
Yeah.
He's going to get the belt.
Yeah.
He would tell my mom, don't ever raise your hand. Just go get the belt and hit him with the belt.
Wow.
Child abuse, man.
Yeah, belts are scary.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you didn't call anybody. You just took your beating,
Yeah, so you guys never really had a straight answer on knowing whether or not for sure it was a company, but
we never knew. It was always something we thought. I did, maybe I want to say 5 years ago. He died when I was 10, so I'm 48 now, but maybe like 5 years ago, I sent a message to Erin Brockovich on everything. Because it says on her Twitter page, you could submit if you have a case. If we're interested in it, we'll reach out to you. They never did. I just thought like, hey, this is, I think a doctor that I really used to see maybe about 3 years ago, a doctor I see every year, I asked him and he was like a real smart doctor with statistics. And I said, it always bugged me because my dad died so young. It didn't make sense. And he said, we know now statistically that people do not get leukemia at 38. So something's messed up.
Something happened in the environment.
It's not in your genes or any of that shit. So it always sticks with me. And more than anything, I think I always say that it pisses me off that my mom, this is a crazy story. She's never remarried.
Can I ask you a weird question?
Yes.
you're a guy who's kind of like, if I looked at you in the street, I'd be like, that guy's anti-authority. Do you think having this belief that a company might have made your dad die sooner than he had to, did that make you sort of fuck authority a little bit?
Yeah. I think I have an attitude a little bit too towards shit like that. Yeah, I think so. Like, you know, a very fuck you attitude comes out, I think, because me and my brother raised ourselves. We didn't have a dad. So we kind of grew up.
How old were you when he passed?
I was 10 and my bro was 11.
So young.
Yeah.
Wow.
We just had each other. And you know, when we were younger too, flashing back again, before my dad died, this was some crazy immigrant shit that me and my brother went through. My sister wasn't even in the womb yet, but Iran hostage crisis. We got harassed all the time. Our house got spray painted and egged.
Oh, during the
Reagan Iran
hostage crisis in Iran.
Yeah. So I mean, even that, I remember me and my brother being like, we just went to like a grade school, but people would, you know, camel jockeys. And what was cool though is me and my bro we had the attitude like, what'd you say, motherfucker?
Yeah.
What? You want to fight?
Yeah.
And luckily none of them wanted to fight because we probably would have got our ass kicked, but we stood up tough and it kept people away from us, man.
And it's crazy. Like nobody knows what other people are going through. Your dad passes away and then these idiots start, you know, these two young boys that lost their dad and then these idiots at your school starting to call you terrorists and racist names because of some political bullshit that's happening on TV.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that drives me the most crazy, man. I hate when people talk, the whole notion of us and them that's happening in the country right now. To me, the only us and them is real people and governments.
Yeah.
That's
I agree, man.
it.
Yeah.
There's no other us and them. We're the same. If someone's darker than you, it's because they came from a place that was closer to the equator. If someone's lighter than you, it's because they came from a place that was farther away from the equator. That's it. We're the same. The only people that we should not trust are the people in power trying to, you know, risk our lives for their profit.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like a pissed off Bernie Sanders, you know what I mean? But but I do. It's a scary thing. Like I feel like even right now, corporations are starting to take some liberties, you know, from us because of this president right now too, where he's like putting corporations ahead of people. Yeah. And I think this story reminds me of the kind of dangerous stuff that could happen. Aaron Brockovich is another great, that these things happen too much in America.
Yeah, man. Totally.
I believe your father died from that because if you look back, 9/11, they have high percentage from the police die with the cancer because the dust.
Because of all the stuff, the dust. Yeah.
So I believe
we believe it for sure. So I have a hatred for corporate America for sure. Because
and it formed your personality. It's interesting, you know, like it's always, I love when I meet people that I, you know, of course you always meet people and you know them visually first. And then, you know, it's like reading a book. You know, I hate when people, do you judge a book by the cover? Yeah, that's what the cover's for. They hire professional people. They hire professional photographers, professional painters, professional long-haired guys with good bodies. Just so the cover could tell us what's inside the book. So obviously I looked at your cover and it's so cool now to kind of like unpack how you got to where you are, you know, or what kind of like what badges you wear in your body to strangers.
Yeah, man. That's true. That's true. Even there's being a songwriter since a little kid, there's been maybe 20 songs that have some reference to my father. One of the most popular ones is still up on my website. It's called Beautiful Pain. And even when I wrote that song, I remember my producer and some of the musicians I hired like, man, why didn't I ever think of that title? Beautiful Pain. That's awesome. I go, well, it's been used before. It's not that original. Yeah. But I just wanted two words.
What was it about?
It's about my father's death and my cousin Drita's death. And I think it's true. It's like a beautiful pain because it defines me. Like, I'm super sad that my dad died, especially both my dad and my little cousin, just way too young. But at the same time, it made me who I am, and I don't regret how I turned out. You know, I'm a little dude, but I think I'm badass because of the shit that happened to my dad. Or we'll say I think I'm badass, but I won't back down from crap. You know, because of that. So yeah, I guess that's what the song kind of stresses out. It's a beautiful pain. This pain is somewhat beautiful, I guess, too.
Yeah.
How your mom raised you when you're 10 years and she's immigrant with two boys, very tough boys.
It was really hard, you know. And
Good question.
she didn't she just worked like an odd job because she wasn't like the provider. My dad was. But I will say this, someone in our family helped my mom get on Social Security. And until we turned 18, we lived on Social Security. And so I wasn't like, in a sense, I guess I could say that government helped us survive. My dad worked for years before he got sick, so maybe that had something to do with it. I mean, they applied proper. I remember even some of that shit, some harassment from kids like, you guys live off the government. I'm like, so what? My mom's a foreigner. She doesn't work anywhere. What's she supposed to do? My dad died, you assholes, you know?
Yeah.
That's always made us tough. It's like, what? What did you say? It was always, what did you say?
Sure.
That Chicago attitude.
Yeah. But the country, they have a great system for some a situation like that. It's great. But for you, people use it, they deserve it. But some people, they use it, they don't deserve it.
They abuse it, yeah, for
like,
sure.
I know some people very Republican and they complain about everything, but their daughter, when she's pregnant, she say my back hurt and she take money all the time and she didn't deserve it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those
But
stories
you
are
deserve
rampant.
this money.
Sure.
You deserve it.
Yeah, and that's probably why we got thrown into it, because you hear the stories of people abusing the system, and I'm like, my mom don't know how to abuse the system. She didn't even know how to get the money. Someone had to help her get it.
And you know what's funny? Here's the thing that I think people don't realize is even when people say, "Oh, just be racist indoors," like it's kids don't know anything about who uses the government or abuses the government policies. They don't have real opinions.
Right.
They just hear their parents, and then they go to school and they mimic. The way like a little dog tries to imitate a big dog, watching it walk down a staircase.
Yeah, dude.
So like I remember when I was a kid and people were racist towards us and would throw racial slurs at me. I started noticing a pattern. It was whenever the gas prices were high in the news.
Oh, really?
So what was happening is news reporters would talk about gas prices going high. Kids' parents would be at home going, "Goddamn Arabs, blah, 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 blah." And then the kids would come to school and be like, "There's one."
Yeah.
And then jump me. So it's like these parents, what they don't realize is that the racism that they spew, even in their house, if kids hear it, it affects them.
Yeah.
And I don't care even if someone believes in racism as a philosophy and they're like, I know it doesn't feel good to them.
No way.
I know that they know that hate is wrong and hate is bad. And I know that they don't want their kids to feel that.
Right.
It's not a good feeling to hate.
Way. No way.
So it's like when they got to be careful, man. They're damaging their kids. It's not just us. We can take it. It actually makes stronger people, I think. A lot of my favorite people came from strife. It's very rare that I say my favorite artist comes from Beverly Hills. That's never happened. You know what I mean? Great art comes from, like, human beings are kind of like cacti. Like, we need harsh environments in order to really grow strong.
Yeah. I agree.
And so I really do feel like even being racist indoors really damages people.
That makes total sense, man. You're right. Kids hear the parents and just repeat it. Yeah. That's how they learn. Like the dog example is so true, man.
What was the song about, Beautiful Pain?
The song kind of just it just starts out about, it's telling the story on oh man, I forget now.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah. Mostly just telling how the emotion of it, like I think I go back and forth with the words. Like I talk angry, and then I say, but it made me do this. But it's so it is. I go back and forth with the beautiful and the pain part of it. So it turned out really good. I mean, the story was awesome, man. I wish some really talented female artists would use the song because I'm not that popular.
Maybe we'll put a link to it on the in the show description. We could do that. We'll put a link to it so
I
people
think it's
can
on
hear
my VettyRocket.com website.
Okay,
anyway,
cool.
so
I'll put links to it and stuff. It's so interesting to me when you're someone who grows up and you have such a deep pain at such a young age. Like for me, for example, I still talk about my dad, and a lot of the pain that I had with my dad happened when I was really young. You know, when we got older, my dad and I got really close after he got cancer. And unfortunately, because cancer and stress are so intertwined, I didn't want to stress him out. So I didn't talk to him about a lot of stuff I wanted to talk to him about. So after he passed away and I started writing comedy, inevitably the stories that started coming out were stories about him and jokes about him. And I was like, I'm a grown man, but the stories that are coming out of my soil are stories about this thing that happened when I was just a kid.
Right on.
And I remember there's this voice in my head, especially coming from like it sounds like you guys were similar to me in the sense that you guys put on this tough front.
Yeah.
So I had this back and forth battle. Sounds like your song might be a little bit similar in the sense that part of me was like, I want to talk about this pain. And another part of me was like, just get over it.
Yeah.
Just get over it. That was the way it was then. You're an adult now. Just forget it. And like, and I'm so glad I didn't just forget it. I'm so glad I talked about it because I think it's a way to break the cycle.
Yeah.
I think I would have been a much angrier person if I just said, oh, just forget it and stay quiet.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Bottle it in, keep it bottled up.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. It's healthy to talk about any problem.
What about when your siblings heard the song? Did they know did they have a reaction to it?
Well, I told them what it was about. And even when I remember performing it once in Chicago and my aunt was there. So my aunt who lost Drita, I would never bring Drita up in front of her because she's still like, she will break down.
Wow.
She, you know, I told my mom once we were out there, I go, hey, let's go to the cemetery and see Dad, you know, and you want to ask Hala to go with? She goes, oh no, I don't want to bring her. She really takes it really hard. Anytime we go to the cemetery, she just breaks down and she says, oh, why you take my, and just when my mom started telling me that, I started crying because I'm like, oh man, because Drita was so young and it's, you know, you, like you said, she obviously can't forget it. So when I performed that song one night, I performed it at this bar. Luckily the bar was kind of loud. So the seriousness of the song didn't get through because my aunt was there. And I really didn't want her to totally grasp what I was singing about. I think she would have just like broke down. I don't want to be that guy that brings her back to that really sad thing. But I mean, I think I have to write those songs to get this angst out of me of what happened losing my dad so young. There's an anger to that, you know.
Of course.
That's bullshit, all that stuff still comes in and out.
It's like a human scratching post, right? Like for you, it's songs. For me, it's comedy. It's our way of getting our stress out without damaging the furniture.
That's such a great analogy.
Right?
Your kid's the best.
Thanks. But I can relate to that. I can relate to, you know, a lot of times my dad was around, but he wasn't necessarily there for me. So there's a lot, it's tough when you're a young boy and you like who taught you how to tie a tie?
That was, God, that's good. That's a good question.
Because I had to learn from a friend's dad. It felt weird.
And I think it was just like a cousin or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't my pop. He wasn't around.
Did you notice in those moments, like real father-son moments, did those moments stand out as especially painful after he passed away? Like, are there certain moments where you go, I really miss him? Are there certain days where you miss him more than others?
You know, unfortunately, man, I can't remember too much. I know we were bummed out when we were real young. There's even this picture, my wife made this collage of photos of me from when I was young. Yeah. And there's this one where it's me, my brother, my little sister, because my sister was born, she was like a year old and then my dad passed away. Wow. So he was sick the whole time she was, you know.
But at least he got to see her.
He got to see her.
So nice.
But anyway, I was trying to say this picture of us, we all like look like we're all in shambles. And I remember asking my mom, I go, where's this picture? She goes, oh, that was like maybe a few months after your dad died. I'm like, geez. I go, who set us up against the wall and said, here, let's take a picture of your scummy kids and all you guys.
And you guys looked unhappy?
We just looked like we were just like
sad.
Emotionally drained.
My mom was like kind of smiling. I'm like, why did we even take that picture? And then my sister has this picture of, my sister's like a little baby and she's crying and she's in my dad's arms and he looks like he's 60 and he's 36. Wow. I go, why do you have that? She goes, oh, I want to remember.
You're such a man. You know that? You're such a man. Because for me, guys like me and you, we're like, why do we even look at that? And women are like, you pussies. What's wrong with feeling the pain? What's wrong with feeling the sadness? There's nothing wrong with that.
That's what she wants to, man. Yeah. I mean, at first I'm like, why do you have that? And then she's like, I want to remember. I don't remember Dad. I'm like,
you know why? Because it's a beautiful pain. There's beauty in pain.
Yeah,
that's your
shit,
song,
man.
bro.
That's it, dude. But
it's true. Like we focus on the pain, and they focus on the beauty.
She does, man.
Right?
That's it. That picture is the beautiful pain title. I guess I just never knew it was there, but that's where I got it from.
You know, it's such an interesting. You don't imagine a family picture where people look emotionally drained instead of people just like, let's smile for this. Because all you have to do is fake it for 3 seconds.
Totally.
You just got to say the word cheese.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. But you guys were so emotionally, you couldn't even say cheese.
We were just, all of us looked like we were like, that kind of smirk. Like,
yeah, it drains you.
Yeah, for sure. It's for sure. But you're right. Now, I guess I see that, especially when my sister goes, well, I want to, I don't remember Dad. So I want to.
Yeah, I was going to ask that since she was so young.
He looks so old in this photo. It's like, for sure, 5 months later, he was dying because it was just, he's like just skinny and old. But
do you think she envies you guys for having a memory of him? Or do you think she kind of dodged a bullet by not having to see him sick?
I think she dodged a bullet because, like you said, man, the stuff that happens to you as a kid sticks with you longer, seeing my dad in a coffin still, like that flash in my head's like, jeez, like I was a kid and I just, of course my foreign family, they're pushing you up to the casket. I'm like, all right, I really go, say a prayer. And I say a prayer and then I go up to, just touch his head. And it's like, a block of ice. I remember that block of ice because I was a little kid.
It's such a scary thing when they make you touch a dead body. Because then you go, this is just a vessel. You can feel it. Yeah. You can feel like there's not life.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy feeling. And I'm the same way. I have flashbacks, like these flashbacks of like.
But that was the only one thing that I always agree with what my dad did is he would not let us come and see him at the hospital. Wow. He told my mom, do not let them in here. And I always thought, man, he's a badass.
That is badass. Yeah.
Because I would be like, no, bring my dogs in here. Bring everybody. I'm dying,
It shows you how much love he had for you guys too.
Yeah, it was, and we wanted to go.
Of course.
He's like, no.
And I'm sure he really wanted you to be there, but he probably just didn't want you to have those memories.
Yeah, it was I always thought that was a badass move from him to be like, no, I don't need to see my kids. I need to suffer this bullshit cancer that he got. So,
all right, well, let's take a turn because here's what I know about you from knowing you. You're very rock and roll. You're very much a macho dude and like an anti-authoritarian, which is you look like somebody that would hang out with me, right? Even though you've got that background in you and that edge to you, I think every time I see you, you have like just the hugest smile on your face. You're a happy person. You're a positive guy.
I'm pretty pumped up.
When did life start getting better? Like, because you definitely have more sunshine than clouds.
Yeah. I think after that happened, I think because me and my bro had to raise ourselves, I think as we were growing up, my little sister in my life, even though she was a little kid, there was something about her. Maybe losing dad, maybe, I don't know, because I was a kid, maybe the subconsciously, my dad being gone, she was my new little toy. Having her around us, and as we grew up, I just, I think because we had to do stuff on our own, the FU attitude went away.
Yeah.
I found some dudes.
And now we have this new baby girl to take care of.
Yeah. And then also, when I got into music, it was around 18. That was, I think, a huge outlet. It really brought all this happiness to me. Hey man, rock and roll's fun. I can write about these things that bug me, and they're going to be badass songs. And that really, really helped me, and having my sister around, and all of us were pretty supportive. My bro was my brother's like, the godfather of the family. Yeah. What's that asshole's name? I'll kick his ass. He's still like that. So having him as the big bro, like if someone was messing with me, I think I remember one time I was at this bar, I was with this girl, and this guy started flirting with her, and I got in this guy's face. He kicked me like right away.
Like a karate kick?
Yeah. I'm like, my damn, God, that guy's badass. And I right away called my brother, hey man, this dude just kicked me in the face. He's like, I'm on my way, dude. He came there right away with like 6 people because he knew the guy that owned the bar. But what was funny about that night is my brother came up to me. He's like, listen, you better leave. That guy's pretty badass. And he's here with like 5 big dudes. I go, all right, I'll go. So anyway, we all kind of helped each other. So I think the positiveness came a lot from my mom. Mm. My dad was kind of a kind of guy. Before he even got sick, he was just, I guess he
grumpy,
a little grumpy. Yeah. But we got a lot of the happiness, staying positive thing from my mom, and I think because we seen her, like she just lost her husband, and she's not sitting in the corner. Sure. She's taking care of us. She's giving us love like a lot. So that must have been what really kind of kept us positive. And then
You guys are probably closer to each other too, I imagine, having
Oh, yeah.
lost one parent.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
especially between you boys, you guys probably felt like a need to kind of like fill the void a
Yeah.
little bit that your
Yeah.
dad left.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure
did.
she is very strong woman.
Yeah, totally.
She do this alone with 2 boys.
And a daughter, yeah.
And a daughter.
Yeah.
Strong women. And just she never been here before as immigrant. It's not easy.
No.
And no language, no, it's very tough. So see, you have to be proud of her.
Yeah, I am. She's the rock that
Yeah.
if we're successful, which all of us in my family, me and my brother and my sister are doing well.
What's
it's because of
everybody
her.
do?
My brother owns this a business, like he's like a insurance business. He does really well. He's got two kids, raised those. His boy is like a football star, plays in. I mean, he's really badass.
He became a dad.
Yeah,
You know, like
he became a dad. My sister's a fashionista in Brooklyn.
Oh, good
She
for
just had
her.
a baby and she's got another one coming. So she's got a killer, super cool husband, and she's living a killer life. Like every time
That's great.
she tells me about her life, I'm like, I'm so happy to see how
Yes.
good she's doing out there. I'm a real estate appraiser, and that gets me get all my little toys and stuff.
And a musician.
And the musician thing is fun. But
Can I ask you a weird question?
Go ahead.
Do you guys ever feel like you see pieces of your dad and your sister?
I don't know.
Because I just mean because she was so new to Earth when he was leaving Earth.
Yeah,
Just
I don't know.
wondering,
Maybe that is a weird, like a, because they found out that my dad was sick and like found out my mom was pregnant kind of in the same week.
Yeah.
There is some weird thing there that you think one life goes, one comes kind of thing. So I don't know, man. I mean, maybe that's why I was so into taking care of my sister and being there for her. And like, we're super close. It would even be to a point to where it caused maybe a little bit of a rift between me and my bro, but we're all good now.
Yeah.
All of us are all good. But me and my brother were only 15 months apart. So we
Your
grew up
brother got
fighting.
jealous or something?
Yeah, I think so. Like as we got older, because he's raising his kids and doing his business thing, and me and my sister are always just keeping in touch. And but as growing up as kids, all 3 of us were together like all the time. So it was definitely. It was a cool childhood, other than my dad passing away. The rest of it was cool. And then on really quick on my aunt's side, my cousin Zelly, she had 2 wonderful boys. They're both super successful. They live in Chicago. They both have killer jobs. Both of them just recently got married. One of them is expecting a kid. So they went through, their dad was kind of a nut job. He left the neighborhood and wherever, the family. So it's like everybody that's in this family that lost all these people, they all have really kind of, the siblings have all kind of come up and been successful.
Can I ask you another
successful immigrants, I like to say.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's something that's unique about your story to me, which is that I sometimes ask people, what was your worst day in America? What was your best day in America? And for you, the worst day was the day your dad died.
Yeah.
And your best day was the day your sister was born.
Yep.
That's almost like the same time period.
So yeah, it was trippy, man.
Like no wonder your picture, like you guys were just so overwhelmed. What an emotional period. What a yin yang.
Yeah.
Again, like your song title is making a lot of sense.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
This was yin and yang of beauty and pain.
Yeah.
Like there's not been a single person so far where their worst day and their best day were so close to each other and even kind of tied together.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And it's trippy. It's trippy. It really, I remember as a child, so much shit happened to me as a child, losing my dad and then Fatima being born. Her name is Fatima. Cool last name.
That is a cool name.
It was cool. That was a great time. As we went into the teenage years, though.
What made it great? Because I don't have any siblings.
Oh, right.
So for me, that answer, the day my sister was born, is in my blind spot. I don't know. What was it that was so special for a little boy to have a sister born?
I think it was that toy thing. Like she was so fun.
Did she distract you from the pain?
Yeah, it must have been that, not knowing. You're totally right, dude. Like, I always think, man, Fatima was so much fun when she was a little kid. I have all these little pictures of her. Oh, as a matter of fact, that's all 3 of us right
wow,
there.
Wow, yeah.
Right after my dad died.
Tattooed on your forearm.
Yeah, everybody thought this was my kids. I have dogs. So that's my sister, that's my bro, and that's me when we were. This is the picture of us.
That's
just
cool.
Like, just after my dad passed, or just before he passed, because I know he was sick the whole time my sister was a kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she was just such a fun ass toy, man. And I do remember we played.
Toy is such a weird word.
I know, but I know I wasn't like treating her like a toy, throwing her in a bucket.
But do you know why she is like a toy? She's like, your dad said, don't come into the hospital. I don't want them to see me in the hospital. He was so focused on you not feeling pain. Yeah. And like, what's this? It's almost like he gave you a toy.
Yeah, I guess you're right, man.
To distract you from pain because he wanted you to not see the pain.
Yeah. Because even he was still alive when Fatima was born. And I remember even that picture I'm talking about, he wasn't like totally super sick yet. And I remember him making me and my brother laugh because he was playing with Fatima, like tickling her. And she was laughing like a baby laughs. It makes you. So I remember that stuff because, yeah, I think you're right, man. I think I was always around Fatima and wanted to be around her because it distracted me from, man, my dad just died. This is really fucked up. So, because we were so like, foreign families are way tighter.
Yeah.
And I know because when I grew up with my friends, my American friends, I couldn't believe the shit they would tell me. What did your mom say to you? Really? Man, she don't like you, does she? It's like, you couldn't believe the shit the parents would say. Well, at least that's how I took it because my mom and dad would never say, you stupid ass kid, get the hell out of here.
Sure.
Like, never.
Yeah.
Never.
I remember seeing a kid tell his mom to shut up. And I was in his room and I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to witness a murder. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
he's going to die. Like, and I started backing up and I was gonna cover, like, I thought I was gonna witness a murder, but I'm like, oh,
that's right.
His dad's not Egyptian. his mom's not gonna murder him in front of me.
It's so true, though, man. You're right, man. I couldn't believe some of the stuff I'd hear. So
I think that is the beauty of pain, is that that's one of the other gifts, right? Is it brings you closer.
Yeah.
I don't think it's exclusive to immigrant families. I think it's exclusive to families that have been through tough times. Yeah. And they help each other and they, you know, but yeah, man, that's heavy. It's really heavy that you went through that experience with your pop, but it's really beautiful that you guys came across the other side and ended up like even tighter as a family.
And one of my relatives really brought it up to me, my cousin Johnny. His family is like our second cousins, and they were around when all this was going on. His dad was like best friends with my dad. So when my dad died, they were all like, oh my God, what's going to happen to the boys? What's going to happen to Mamu Dia is my mom's name. They called her D. What's going to happen to her? She doesn't know English that well. She doesn't really work. Like, what's going to happen? I remember my cousin telling me this. He
must be so scary.
Yeah. He goes, my cousin goes, that's all we talked about in the house. He goes, and now like years later, he goes, dude, you, your brother, your sister, you guys are doing so good, man. He goes, you know, like, you're like a rock star out here. I'm like, yeah, I didn't really make it, but I've definitely done a bunch of stuff there where I could be like, well, that was a rock star moment.
You're
that
just
was a
being hard
moment.
on yourself.
Yeah. I mean, he made me witness it more like, yeah, I guess I go, you know, it's cool that I don't think like, well, I had it rough and look where I'm doing. I go, I'm glad that you're bringing it up to me and making me aware of it. I don't even think of it like that. I just think, well, I'm just living, man. And this is the path I had to live because of the shit that happened to me as a child. So yeah.
It's also funny that you're wearing a Trans Am t-shirt with a phoenix coming out of the top. You know, the bird that rises from ashes.
I love Trans Ams.
Of course. I love phoenixes. They're Egyptian.
Oh, is that what it is?
Phoenixes are Egyptian, actually. The story of it. You want to hear something cool about my name? So Turkey, you guys like to dominate a lot of countries, your people. You know,
the Turkish?
Oh my God. The Ottoman Empire was everywhere. Shout out for my Armenian friends will appreciate me.
I'm Albanian, so
I know you are.
We're like totally kidding. Poor people, right? Albanians? That's what I hear.
I'm totally kidding. I have nothing against Turkey at all. But when I was a kid, Mom, why don't you tell the story of how I got my name? Remember my name's a Turkish name.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And my when I was a kid, you guys were trying to think of what to name me.
Yes, I will gonna call you Badgie.
Oh, thank God, Baddie.
Badgie.
What a horrible. Yeah. Do you know what would have happened to me in America if my name was Baddie?
Oh yeah, it was horrible. Badgie in Arabic, that means the first one in the family.
Yeah. Well, we also had an uncle named Fatty.
Oh no, please.
Who was fat.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Someone's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "I'm Fatty." They're like, "I know, but what's your name?" It's thank God you picked a name that was a little bit better in
Well,
America.
your little cousin, she has a boy. She was 5 years old, but she's in love with a man. His name a boy.
She was in love with another boy, not a man.
Boy, yeah, boy. 5 years old. His name Tamer, and I used to love her so much. And she came and she said, "We need to call him Tamer. After you born, your name like that." And we say, "For Mona, we're gonna call you Tamer."
Yeah.
That's
So it was
awesome.
a little girl saying, "I'm in
Change
love with a little boy named
yeah.
Tamer, so you should name him Tamer." And my mom goes, "Yeah, that's good." Thank God. Thank God for that little girl. Otherwise, you'd be listening to, "They tried to bury us with Kity and Batty." Who would take me seriously if my name was Batty?
During this time, we wasn't planning to come to America because we felt they destroy your father paper, so we never figure we're coming back.
Thank you for listening to that little girl.
Thank you. Yeah, but I just want to
Who
say,
fell in love with a Turkish man, or a Turkish boy, because that was a Turkish name. Yeah.
I tell you a small story about Turkish. Turkish people, very good people, but they under rule, very shitty rule.
Oh, really?
2011, they tried to support Muslim brother for Egyptian, and I don't like that, of course.
Oh, during the election, yeah.
And Tamer, he used to live in London, and he got me ticket to go visit him for Christmas with Turkish airline. I refuse.
Oh, really?
I refuse to put money with Turkish airline, and it cost him extra 200 to change. And
I'm
I
like,
said,
"Thanks, Mom."
Not penny going to Turkish government, and I switched it
Good for you.
Virgin.
Good for you.
Well, here's the other thing. It's funny. I think people need to know this too. Like outside of America, I don't even know about. I used to be able to say this, that in outside of America, the difference between the government and the people.
Yeah.
There's Egypt and then Egyptians. I love Egyptians.
Yes.
I don't love Egypt. I love Turkish people. I don't always love the Turkish government.
People is so
But
good.
that's what it is at the end of the day. It's these power hungry people playing games and impacting our lives,
And he still is.
even putting our relatives' lives in danger.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think a president who has never served in the war should be allowed to vote. I think mothers should be allowed to vote.
Well,
I think the president should be like, "Hey, I think we might have to go to war. Mothers, open up your apps and vote."
yeah, okay, watch out.
It's their money.
Yeah.
I can't go to Vegas and gamble with somebody else's money. We shouldn't be able to go to war with somebody else's kids.
Yeah.
If we're going to go to war, let's make an app and let's have all the moms in America, the moms of those kids say, "Yeah, this is worth my son's life."
Yeah.
Or my daughter's life.
Right.
Or my transgender kid's life.
Oh, they'll never
Or my
say.
gender neutral kid's life.
The people. Oh, jeez. But the middle country, I guess I'm thinking of the people that attack me on Twitter, hillbillies. They'll be like, they would never sign off their kids, I guess, once you get to pick if your kid goes to war and dies. Oh, well, I'm not sending my kid there,
Well, that's why they always make us, they give us a target to hate.
Yeah.
There's always a face that they give us.
Yeah.
There was like one man's face that they always show us, and it's like a movie.
Yeah.
They know how to manipulate us. They know how to control us. They know how to make us. But at the end of the day, the only us and them is us and governments.
Yeah. I agree with you, man.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me,
Listen,
man.
you're a great musician. I want people to know about you. So
Thanks, brother.
the website is Vetty Rocket?
Yeah, VettyRocket.com.
VETTY
Rocket.
ROCKET.com.
Yes.
And how would you describe your music?
It has I've been compared to like a what's the hell's name? John Mellencamp, but
Yeah.
like heavier rock.
Definitely heavier.
Yeah.
I agree with that description. Kind of Black Crowes inspiration.
Yeah, some of it, yeah. And I'm even forming a Black Crowes tribute band right now. We're still working on it.
Right on.
But so it has that vibe for sure.
Cool. And then where do you want people to follow you or?
Yeah, sure. I'm at Vetty Rocket. And then Vetty Rocket, VettyRocket.com will have all my stuff. But look for me on Twitter. You'll see me sending some FUs to your fucking president.
Listen, well, go support this guy. He's a great musician.
Thanks, bro.
Find out when he's playing next. He's an Albanian, Turkish, American icon. Thanks so much, brother, for being on. I really appreciate it.
I
Good
love
job.
being here, man. Thank
Good
you very
job.
much. Kiki, right?
Yeah.
Kiki?
Kitty.
Kitty.
Kiki.
Like
Okay.
a cat, like a kitty, but Kitty.
Kitty. Kitty.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
You know why I never called her mom? I never
said
called her
Kiki.
mom.
I don't know why I got Kiki. I think that's from my wife's soap opera. And why do I know that?
Be proud of your mama. She
I
did
am.
a good job.
She's amazing.
She's,
So
she's
proud
the
I
rock.
met you.
If I'm a successful person, it started with her
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening in. Thanks for liking and subscribing and sharing. If you guys are looking for live stand-up in the Los Angeles area, follow me at tamerkittan.com, at Tamer Kattan on Twitter, and at TamerCat on Instagram. For those of you that are sending me mean emails because we make fun of Trump, I will be reading your comments and my mom will be responding and crushing you.
I will.
She will, right? You will
Of
crush
course.
them.
Damn
you will
well.
crush them.
Yes.
So I'm. This isn't one of those. My dad will beat up your dad. It's my mom will beat up you.